Hi, I'm Matt Rinchler, Associate General Counsel with Illinois Realtors, back again to continue the series on New Year, New Laws in Illinois. At the federal level, 2025 will bring new requirements for corporations, including real estate corporations and, in some cases, real estate agents, for new disclosures to the Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. In 2021, in response to concerns that financial crimes, including money laundering, were not being adequately traced or tracked, the federal government implemented new requirements to go into effect in 2025 that require corporations that have filed as a corporation in a state such as Illinois to report what it defines as beneficial owners for reportable companies. You might ask yourself, what is a reportable company? The statute and rules generally define reportable company as an LLC, corporation, or trust, or some other types of entities created in an individual state. So for instance, if you have filed as an LLC in Illinois to purchase a property through that LLC, that could be and most likely is defined as a reportable company. So what is a beneficial owner? A beneficial owner is defined in potentially a couple different ways. One way may be the individual has 25% or more ownership of the entity, such as the LLC, corporation, or trust. And another way may be the individual has substantial control, either directly or indirectly, over the LLC, corporation, or trust, or other type of reportable company. There are some exceptions to this definition, of course. One would be if the person is a minor, they wouldn't be included in the definition. If the person is acting on behalf of another, they may be exempt. If they're an employee of the entity, they may be exempt. If your right to ownership in the entity or control of the entity was something you inherited from, say, a parent or relative, you might be exempt. And if you're a creditor of the agency, you're likely exempt. If you're not exempt, the law puts in a deadline of January 1st, 2025 for you to report all beneficial owners as defined under the statute to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. For real estate agents, it's likely that you are not what's called a beneficial owner. However, the Act will put in place, beginning December 1st, 2025, new requirements to file what is called a real estate report with the Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. This new requirement to file these real estate reports essentially requires you to file a report when you conduct what's called what they determine to be a high-risk transaction. So what is a high-risk transaction, you might ask? Through the statute and its rulemaking authority, they generally define high-risk transactions as non-finance transfer of ownership in residential property. So as an example, if someone would come to you to purchase a property, and instead of them as an individual purchasing the property, they have set up an LLC to purchase the property. And when they go to pay for the property, they don't finance through a bank, they just either pay cash or it's a gifted property, potentially. And the reasoning finance properties are excluded, they argue, is that the institutions such as banks, title companies, insurance companies, they are already regulated in this aspect. So there's no need to double up on that regulation. Because as I say, part of this, the intent of this new act was to help track and enforce laws against money laundering. And the belief was some foreign entities may be setting up LLCs or shell companies as they call them, and they don't know who they are. This new law has not come without controversy, however. And some have said that these new disclosure requirements have put an extensive burden on small businesses especially, and people like real estate agents. And others have said that the whole purpose of some people setting up LLCs is to remain anonymous in some aspects, and there are privacy concerns with information that is being forced to be shared with the federal government. And as I said, this has been a controversial topic in the last year or so, and there have been lawsuits filed. In an attempt to stop enforcement of this new law before it takes effect. And just recently, on December 3rd, a federal district judge in the state of Texas put in place a preliminary injunction preventing the government from enforcing the act. It's likely that will be appealed, so it's unclear at this point whether the government will be able to enforce the act on January 1st. But as of the date of this taping, the injunction is in effect, although it's likely to be appealed within the next few weeks. All that being said, it's important to keep in mind that there is this new law in place that, until courts say otherwise, will require new disclosures and new reports to be filed in regard to real estate transactions.